Good evening and welcome to Coffee Time with me, Stephen Rowlands, and my lovely guest tonight, Judith Miller. Coffee Time is all about spiritual chat. Me and Judith chatting spiritually, and we give you the opportunity to ask us any questions if you would like to ask questions. And we will do our best to answer them. For those that don't know, I've been a Christian spiritualist for 48 years. And I've been a demonstrating trance healer and platform medium for the past 43 years. With no further ado, I will get my lovely guest Judith on board to say hello to you. And hello, Judith.
Hi, Stephen. Great to be here. Great to be here.
Yeah, great to have you on again. Just for those who don't know you, there's a question there right now. Right, okay. Without further ado, I'll get that question on in a minute. Right, but without further ado, Judith, can you just tell those that are watching, all those that are watching, a little bit about yourself, please?
Yes. So thank you very much for having me back. I always love our chat, Stephen, so I'd like to give you thanks for having me back. So my journey began as an evidential when I started working with spirit. I've always had that ability to know and to understand and things that always was happening, but I never pursued it to adulthood. And when I did, spirit very much took me under their wing, and they moved me from not just evidential, but into the physical side of spirit work. So I very much, I'm a big supporter of allowing your spirit guides to teach you and mentor you and develop you in that sense. I learned to just trust, and that's a massive, massive part of what we do, isn't it, Stephen? It's I've just learned to trust, and in doing so, they help me with the physical now in the light, in a way where it's helping move mediumship into different forms with the physical. So I help loved ones feel their loved ones in spirit. I help loved ones in spirit move objects off their hands, hug them, close their hand, lift their arms. I never know what spirit will do. They do many, many different things, and it's beautiful because not only are we connecting to someone's loved one and we're giving them those beautiful messages, and they bring so much healing, to have that physical reconnection is just amazing. So lately, Spirit's been very much working with me on channeling, and I'm very much learning to still relax, trust, and allow. And I never know when that will take place, but I always say I've learned to just allow. And yeah. I absolutely love my journey. I love helping people on their journey. And I'm a big ambassador for it always being your journey and following what feels right. You know, always not what's around you, but what feels right for each person.
That's right. I'll agree with that 100%. We'll go on to certain points of that in a minute. Annie Layton's asking a question that I think she needs answering, and it is my question is, why am I always being betrayed in this realm? I can only talk from my own experience, Annie. I just feel that if you give of yourself too much, you know, if you sort of like lay your love at someone's feet and you're always doing stuff for them, it sort of gives certain people the they feel they've got the right to use you as a doormat and betray you, and go elsewhere. Okay. Once I started living in my truth and started setting boundaries, that's when things changed. So what I'd say to you is, Annie, value yourself a little bit more. You know, don't give of yourself too much. Okay. Don't do all the chasing. Let people chase you. You know, and you'll find things will change. That's just a quick off the cuff answer to you. I mean, we go into the realms of karma with that question, and you know, if what goes around comes around. If we keep doing the same old things, we'll come around to the same sort of outcome, won't we? Like being betrayed. So what I found with that is, with karma, I think we have to change our ways to change our karma. So if you can have a little think about that and value yourself more and live in your truth more and let people chase you, I think things will change for you. Have you got anything to add to that, Judith?
I have. Hi, Arnie. Thanks for joining in. When Stephen was talking to you, I was very much being shown that you give so much to everyone, but you don't give so much to yourself. And people take advantage of that, and I can understand that. I don't think there's anybody in the spiritual movement that has not went through a challenging time when it's been maybe brutal, it's been hard, it's been conflicting as to what we want to be and what we think it's about. But I'm very much getting, Arnie, Spirit are very much asking you to step back, to stop giving so much to other people and first to give to yourself. You always like to make people happy. You always like to be that giver, but you're not the taker. So there's nothing wrong with taking, because it's really important that you give to yourself first. And Spirit are very much guiding you to give to yourself. Now is the time to give to you. Yeah, everybody else. Sorry.
Yeah, giving and receiving is a balance. We have to learn how to receive and how to give. And I don't know what your situation is, Arnie, but what I would say, what I feel very strongly to say, is don't chase people. You know, sometimes solitude is a great healer, and solitude can help you find your truth. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. And with further ado...
Sorry, Steve, can I just say to Arnie before we finish on that?
Yeah.
When I started with my physical, Arnie, I felt quite alone, in the sense that nobody got me, and I found it really hard. And as Stephen said, you know, I was at times wanting to be that person, and I was wanting to give to everyone, and I was wanting other people to understand me. And then Spirit actually said to me that I was doing it wrong. I did not need people to understand me. I needed to just be true to me, to myself. And those who are meant to be in my circle will naturally all develop and fall in and around me. And those who weren't will all fall away, and to trust their guidance. And I have. And I feel I want to say the same with you. Trust that your circle and your tribe and those who are going to uplift you and empower you are going to be around you, and focus on you and let the rest fall away.
I agree 100% with that. I would just like to say, me and Judith won't be giving readings tonight. This is for chat and Q&A. One important point that I would just like to say welcome to everybody that's joining us right now. We value your participation, because we can't do it without you. Anyway, one important thing you said, Judith, was about learning from your guides. That seems to have gone by the wayside these days. I'm a big advocate of working with your guides, because I tell people at times that if you're learning to communicate with your spirit guides, you're learning to communicate with spirit in general. And a lot of people can't say that, because a lot of people tell me that there's no need for guides, but I disagree with that. What would you say?
I'm 100% with you on that, Stephen. I can remember years and years and years ago saying to my guys, I'm ready, teach me more, I'm ready. And they kept saying to me, you're not. And I thought I was, but I wasn't. And I understand that now. But I have to honestly, I'm like you, I'm a big ambassador, because we're one person. And the way I look at things is we have that team around us in spirit, and we carry our spirit within. So we're part of that team. We are that guide only on the earthly plane, and we have everybody around us. And in our development, we can't be selfish and focus on just us, because it's not just about the medium, it's about the teamwork. And
Yes.
if we don't work within the team and we don't give them the respect like they're teaching us, they're also learning from us and we're learning from them. So I'm a big ambassador for the teamwork. It should always be the teamwork. And if you allow that, Stephen, as you know, they will take you past the limitations that people think there is. They will teach you things in a way that you never thought you could work, but you just have to have that trust. And until you develop that trust, you'll keep going round in circles because you're trying to control it instead of allowing it.
Yeah, trust is very important with all this, because when you do a trance, or if you're going to like yourself, you're going to demonstrate anything physical, or you're doing a demonstration of mediumship, you don't know what the hell's going to happen.
No.
And it's just trust, and you go for it, and everything like that, and sort of like 99.9 times out of 100, everything goes swimmingly. You know, but I've had a couple of students over the years that they thought that they knew more than me. I'm not saying I know everything, obviously, but they thought they could do better without me because they thought they were God's gift and didn't want to work with their spirit team. And each time they've come back, my guides are telling me to come back to you for teaching. I've said, right, we're going to slow it down. We're going to do it properly. You know what I mean? And they've had to find that humility because... Oh, here's a good question. Let's see if I can find it.
Bridget.
Bridget, yeah. Yeah. If we choose our families, then why do we become black sheep of that family? Join the club. Have you got any thoughts on that? Because I could go on all night about that. But anyway, yeah.
Well, I do. You might think you're being the black sheep, but you're actually not being the black sheep. You're the one that's overcoming the fear. You're the one that's going out of the comfort zone, and you're the one that's not following. You're not being the sheep. You're being the shepherd. And people just don't like that whenever you're not a follower. Whenever you're a leader, it makes a difference. So I would have been that black sheep. Not my family. Not everybody gets what I do, but I still am passionate about what I do, and I'm passionate about my beliefs, and I trust. So Bridget, never see yourself as a black sheep. See yourself as a leader, and that you're not a sheep.
Yeah. Judith, that's such a great way of looking at it, and that's helped me in its own way. I've always been the black sheep of my family over the years, one for going into spiritualism and not towing the family line. Because many tried to talk me out of it, but I kept going because I knew within myself that I found my niche. I felt comfortable, and it was something that I could contribute to life through spiritual service. So, I've never gone the way of my family. My brother went the family way. He became a carpenter like my dad, and he got the house, he got the wife, he got the kids, everything like that. And he was the number one kiddo. But now it's come full circle in life where I'm the one that's left working, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Mum comes to me for advice now, and she tells me I'm a survivor and all the rest of it. Yeah, so what I would say to you is be unique. Be yourself, Bridget. What my guides told me in one particular, I was very angry. My mum and dad had said something I was very angry about. And I turned into the Incredible Hulk and everything like that. And my guide came to me for all that anger. My guide, Red Cloud, got through to me and said, all you can do is love. And that calmed me down. All right. And no matter what's been thrown at me from the family in whichever direction, I've just found the best way is to love. But be unique, Bridget. Be yourself and be true to yourself, Bridget. Don't worry about being considered as the black sheep of the family, being accepted and all the rest of it. It's your path, not theirs.
Yeah.
Okay. So you walk that path with path with your head held high. I hope that answers your question, Judith.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. The world and our reality and our society, it makes us more concerned about the people around us and their opinions than it does to allow ourselves to be true, our true self, because we feel sometimes that we hide so much and we try to create what people want us to be around us, that we lose ourselves, we lose our purpose, and we lose what we're meant to be doing. So always never see yourself as the black sheep, Bridget. See yourself as the one who has the strength and the determination to find your own way and to follow your own way. And that's what it's about. Life is that. That's what it's about.
One thing that resonated with me with what Judith said was, you're the shepherd. And now looking over the years, because I'm 66 years old now, and I could look back in a lot of hindsight, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I suppose, yeah, that makes sense, Judith. So thank you. And I hope you see yourself as a shepherd. And I think life in general, we spend a lot of time trying to be accepted, but not only by our family, with our work groups, with our friend groups, everything like that. And within spiritualism, it's the same. You know, we try to be accepted for who we are, or we try to find a unique thing to stand out with. But I wrote a poem the other day which basically says we've got to look for our true selves, our eternal being.
Yeah.
You know, and get sanctuary from the wanting to be accepted, the wanting to fit in. You know, because you can only ever be true to yourself, can't you? It's when we're trying to be true to other people and sort of like turn ourselves into what everybody else is doing, that's where it all goes wrong. And I think that's quite a large part of spiritual development. Would you agree?
I would. And you know, Spirit have spoke to me, because one of the reasons I've always been working with, since I've been working with Spirit, I've always said to them, why have they taught me in the way that they've taught me? Why have they trained me with the physical in the way that they've trained me? And it's very much that they have said spiritualism has got very much controlled by rules, by regulations, by restrictions. And all we're doing by that is restricting our development. And if we can focus on spirituality, it is more of a freedom. It is more where we're saying, okay, we're not going to do the norm. We're stepping outside the box and we're just going to go with it and allow the development in the way that Spirit knows they can work with us. And that's how I've kind of always focused on. I've always focused on, doesn't matter what everybody else is doing, because that's their journeys and that's their path. But I just keep trusting and I allow Spirit. I've learned that if you're trying something, and could you be live, you could be doing something like this, or you could be live and it not go to plan. And at times I would have got really panicky over that. Whereas now I don't. I don't at all now, because I know I'm still learning and I always want to be that student. I always want to be the student, because you can never have enough development. You can never have enough time with your guides. You can never have enough teachings from your Spirit team, because they will really take you to levels. If you allow them, they will take you to levels you didn't think you could get to.
I agree 100% with that, because Spirit are always trying to teach us. They're trying to teach us new ways of working, new ways of communicating, and we have to raise our vibration to meet that challenge. Michelle Oliver, we're not giving messages tonight. We're just doing chat and Q&A. But yeah, what one important point you made is sort of trying to do one thing and Spirit are going, no, that ain't quite right. I've learned not to expect with Spirit. I let them sort of take me down that path of the way they want me to go. You know, I think people have too much expectation of Spirit. They want to do this and they want to do that, but they're going the wrong way to what the way the guides want to take them, simply because their guides can see the bigger picture that they can't, and they know where they will flourish other than the way we do.
Yeah,
Because I think we're guided to people. Wouldn't you agree, Judith? With services or readings or whatever we do, we are guided to certain people. And it's
yeah,
that what we develop can help them. Yeah.
absolutely. Spirit won't be afraid to let you fall on your face if you get too big for your boots. And I think that's, it keeps us humble and it stops us from getting carried away with ourselves, because for me, it goes back to, it's not about the one person, it's about the teamwork. And,
Definitely, yeah.
we might all love what we do. I love what I do. You love what you do. We love our journeys and we're so passionate about it that sometimes we just want to run instead of walk. But Spirit, as you say, they know ahead of us, and they're not there to to be at our beck and call, as in create this, create that. We're here to learn the lessons. Did we choose right? Did we choose wrong? There is no wrong. We just learn from it. But at the same time, if we get too big for our boots, Spirit has no problem in reeling you back. And I think that's as it should be, because when we do go that further bit, then that's when we are really shutting Spirit out and trying to take control again. And then we're really limiting ourselves again.
Just quickly, before we go on to Bridget's question, many moons ago, back in the 80s, I was quite well known as a medium, and I was recommended to this place, the Aquarian Spiritualist Church down Long Lane in Hillingdon, which is southwest London. Anyway, I went there, the place was packed out, and you know what? I couldn't get a thing, because my ego was getting big at the time, because places were always packed out. All right. And anyway, I told them that I couldn't get nothing for Spirit, so I wouldn't give a message. Anyway, they were all throwing rocks and saying you're useless and all this. And I left in disgrace. And when I got home, I said to my guys, what was all that about? And they said, remember, you're nothing without us. And that taught me the lesson.
Yeah.
So we have to learn these lessons, don't we? Sometimes the hard way. I know I've certainly had to learn the hard way in the past, Anyway, on to Bridget Costello's question. Just wondering if Spirit always protects you, as I know there is a guardian angel that we have. Spiritual protection is my pet subject. Okay. Because I used to be way open to Spirit, and it wasn't, lots of weird and wonderful things were happening, a lot of them frightening. And it wasn't until I sat in my third circle that I was taught to close down. And what I was told then by my teacher, Berenice, is your guides are responsible for protecting you. And my guides were being lazy. So I had to work on closing down and making sure my guides were doing their job. So, yeah, I think we'll get what Judy thinks in a sec. But yeah, I do believe in guardian angels, because I work with angels, and I do believe they watch over us. Our guardian angels, you could say, are our doorkeepers. They're two spirit guides that stay with us for life. They're not just there to be the spiritual security guards when we're doing mediumship. They're there to help us through our ups and downs in life.
Yeah.
But if you feel unprotected, Bridget, ask for that protection and it will be given. What do you think, Judith?
So there's a couple of things. When Bridget's talking about, Spirit always protecting, it's up to us to protect our own energy and keep our energy cleansed and the likes of that, and our boundaries with people. But also, Spirit always say to me, so if I could explain the way Spirit explained to me, my grandson drew me a beautiful angel painting, and he drew it as to how he's seen my guardian angel. And Spirit always say to me, we have, us as humans, we have to have everything like in a certain way. We can't always just allow in the sense. So for us to accept a guardian angel or specific guides, they show us them in themselves in forms that we will accept, that we feel is correct. But sometimes if they were to show themselves in the form that they truly are, which is just beings of light, we would think there was something different. So spirit, to me, to be honest, I can honestly say, and it's honestly, I can't say it enough, I never feared that I'm not protected. I've never been fearful because I trust my team around me and I trust my guides and angels. And I've never had that fear. I've never carried that fear. And I think maybe it's because I have built such a bond with my team that I never have to doubt them. And I know some people, they worry about different things, but it's what we attract. It's within our energy. What energy are we attracting? What energy are we allowing in? And what energy are we continuing to build and make bigger? Because we have to remember, fear is only an energy. Fear is an energy.
That's right. Yeah. You see, this is looking at this. This is quite a big subject. As I'm listening to you answer, Judith, I'm just thinking this is quite a big subject. The one thing that you did say, Judith, was protecting your own energy, and that's very, very true. And and in a spiritual sense, not just an everyday sense, it's what we're linking to, or what we're looking to achieve. You've always got to try and link to the highest that you can, or the best that you can, and and bringing back Arnie in again, protecting your energy. Only accept things for your highest good. You have to protect your energy, not just in a spiritual sense. If you're open to spirit and all the rest of it, you could be walking down the road and you're passing and you're wide open and you're passing somebody that's just had an argument with the wife. So you pick up their anger, or somebody's got stomach cancer and you're picking that up, or somebody that's mentally ill and you're picking up all that. So you have to protect your energy.
Yeah. And how often do we self-care?
Yeah, and we all have to protect our energy anyway, because I think we're all empathic in that way and on our own levels. We're more aware than we think we are. So it's about protecting your energy, setting your boundaries, and only living your life or linking for the greatest and highest good. It's such a big subject. We could go on all night about that, really, couldn't we? But but I had to go through all those experiences, all the horrible experiences, the frightening ones, and luckily I got into, when I was 19, I got into a circle where she could explain it to me. But I'm glad to say that for all that experience, it's made spiritual protection my pet subject. And the amount of people I talk to about spiritual protection, it's unbelievable. But you've raised a good point. It's not only just for those of us that link with spirit, it's in everyday life as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go on.
I've met a lot of people, and they'll say, for me, I can only talk about me and how I work with my team and how I look after myself. For me, I believe that we should be cleansing our energy on a regular basis. We should be, Spirit always said, to keep our vibrations very high. I've met other people and they'll say, okay, I'm grand. I've done all that letting go and I did all that work and I don't need to do it anymore. Personally, I would disagree with that, because we're here to experience life in all ways, and we will still develop those lows and those highs, and we will still develop lessons in life that we weren't expecting to learn, and those curveballs that come at us. So we're constantly needing to self-care. We're constantly needing to work on letting go and releasing fear, but also releasing that control. Because we don't realize how much of a hold it has on us. So it doesn't matter. For me, it doesn't matter if I was on my journey 1 year, 10 years, 30 years. I'm constantly working on that letting go and that cleansing of my energy, because every day in this life can be hectic and can affect your energy.
Yeah, well, that's very true, because things that happen, I meet a lot of people, but things happen horrible, something horrible happened to them 30 years ago, and they're still beating themselves up about it. They're still full of bitterness and anger and regret and all the rest of it. And letting go is the two words that we have to do. We have to cleanse it, like Judith was saying, we have to cleanse our energy, and we have to look at the lessons that we learned from that situation and move on. Because I've just found life very circular. When something ends, something new will always begin, and we've got to realise that there's always a beginning. Okay. Bridget works in the NHS, so she's meeting all different types of people from all walks of life. So, or walks of life, not works of life. So yeah, you especially, Bridget, you need to protect your energy, but on a personal level,
very stressful.
Yeah. Anything that upsets you or has hurt you in the past, go on that journey of forgiveness and letting go.
Yeah. And can I just say, and I hope I'm not overstepping the mark, but with Bridget, I want to say to you, when Stephen's talking to you, I'm very much getting about the sacral chakra, and I feel it's to do with a gentleman. And I also want to say to you, there's a lot of hurt and a lot of pain within the emotions that you're carrying that you haven't healed and let go of. And for some reason, Spirit's brought that forward to you. So I want to just to link that. Remember, it's not always about protecting your energy like we're talking about, as in your aura and your main energy, but it's also to do with words, actions, things that we have not healed from, things that we've not let go of. And I feel that there's a past connection with you that has not been healed, and it still very much affects you right now. So I hope you understand that, Bridget. Yeah, she does.
I agree. There are sacral chakra cleansing meditations on YouTube, because I've done one before now. But we seem to spend life in this life. Life is a journey of self-healing, really, when you think about it, because we're having to forgive, we're having to let go. We're going to have to accept, let go, whatever. So that we're inwardly healthier to sort of like our inner health, not just our physical health, and it's our mental and our spiritual health. And it just seems to be one big cycle of forgiving and letting go, accepting whatever. But not a lot of people realise, No,
that's true. The mind, I want to say, the mind is very good at deceiving us. We're very good at putting something to the back of the mind and thinking, okay, I'm over this, I've moved on. And Bridget, I was that person. And I came through situations in my past that 20 years down the line, I thought I was well over, and I thought, but there's little triggers, and it kept coming up every so often and just rearing its head a little bit. And I think that's what I'm trying to say to you, Bridget. I know you've moved on and you're feeling that love, but sometimes there's little triggers, and those little triggers are still part of that healing.
And that's one lesson I learned, Bridget. You can't change people, but the one thing you have power over is yourself. Let them get on with it. Let them, if they made them life choices to be like that, that's them. Let them go, and you live life the best way you can. The only person you can change is yourself, and that's so very, very true.
Yeah, and we don't realise how much of our power we give to other people.
I agree.
We don't realise. We think we're like Arnie, when we were talking to Arnie earlier, we want to be good people, we want to help people, and we want to support others. And sometimes we give so much of ourselves, and what we're actually doing is giving our power away. And when we've gave that power away, we've never brought it back. We've never focused on ourselves and brought that power back to us again. We've left ourselves scattered, and we've left our bits of power. We've left parts of us here, there, and everywhere. And bringing that power back to us is a big, big factor in what we do, and in our healing as well.
I just think if we can do that, that letting go and bringing back our own power, it's so empowering.
Yeah.
I find, just walking my own path, and I'm sure Judy will agree with this, just walking my own path, which is out of the norm, or people may think it's out of the norm, is very, very empowering.
Yeah.
We got to realise what powerful beings we are if we start living life the way we want them. We start living and speaking that truth through an open heart. It's so empowering.
Yeah.
The one basic truth of life is that we're all eternal.
Yeah. It doesn't stop us from experiencing the physical life either.
Yeah.
And we're meant to experience that physical life. We're meant to experience the highs, the lows, the happies, the sads. It doesn't matter how spiritual we are. We can never get past the spiritual life and the physical life, and we will experience both, and we should honor both, and we should live in the present as we're going through it. Yeah.
The present moment is a very, very important place to be. But I think to me, in my own journey, I see everything as spiritual. Yes, I'm in a physical. Matter is a low vibration of spirit anyway. But I just see myself as sort of like a spirit being in a physical, walking along the earth. My greatest example of that is always Jesus. And you can think of many others if you really want to go right into it. But he was he was an evolved soul in a physical body in the material world, and he showed us the way. All right, without sounding too much like a Christian, he showed us, what his greatest teaching was to me was, "I am you." And I think we don't have to follow that path through Jesus if we choose not to, but just that heads up that he gave us all.
Yeah.
That can take us a long way down off,
Stephen, this is the one thing that I will always talk about. So my mum's a Christian. Has been since she was 6 years of age, and she's now 86, and she's always lived through her faith. And we were brought up through the church, and I have absolutely nothing wrong with the church. But what I find hard is Jesus was a medium.
Exactly, yeah.
Jesus, and I know in the Bible it talks about my spirit guides, they call the Bible the book of holy codes. But I don't, it's not that I don't believe in Jesus, I do. I believe in all the ascended masters. But I also believe that we have to recognize too that Jesus was a medium. He channeled the Holy Spirit. We are part of the Holy Spirit. So again, I think it's not allowing ourselves to be restricted and to know that there's so much more. So it's so much bigger than just our Christian ways. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful. I don't know how I'm
it's not disrespectful. Or just because Jesus said himself, you will go on to far greater things than I.
Yeah.
If you have this realization.
Yeah.
But Jesus was also a healer. And
so it was Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Yeah, because he passed on a lot of what his teachings and all the rest of it. But and I've forgotten what I was going to say. That's good, isn't it? But
sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm 66. I do forget. But I'm a Christian spiritualist. I'm not a Christian that goes to you know what I mean? So I look on Jesus as an ascended master.
Yeah, but there's no right way or wrong way, Stephen.
That's right, and that's the beauty of it, Judith.
Exactly.
There's no right or wrong.
There's no right or wrong, and
I just wish people would free themselves from the chains of the material expectations and the society expectations, and realise what they truly are. Eternal spirit. My guides are all saying the greatest gift that you bring to this life is your love, and that love can be given through healing in whichever form it comes, whether it's sort of like healing somebody's illness or helping an old lady across the road. It doesn't matter what way it comes, or giving somebody a piece of advice. That can be mediumship.
Absolutely. Messages are
Yeah.
healing.
It doesn't have to be big flashes of light and super duper evidence and all the rest of it. It just can be advice from your own experience.
Yeah, very true. One of my other lives, so you'll know, Spirit statements, only Spirit can give you your spiritual name, and through Spirit they'll give you your spiritual name. And I can remember I was talking to a trance gentleman, and I wanted to know my spiritual name because his guide was giving out different people's names, and he said to me, "You know your name." And I was like, "No, I don't." And he says, "You know your name." And he's adamant, and he says, "Your name comes with a silver cross." And going way back when I met my partner, he introduced me to his friends, and his friend, first thing he said to me was, "Hi, Ruth." And I was like, that's just, he's picked up my name wrong. But this went on for ages, and in the end it was just a running joke. And I said to him one day, "Why do you keep calling me Ruth at this stage?" And he says, "You just look like a Ruth." And it turns out then when I pieced that lifetime together, I was from the book of Ruth, the lineage of Jesus, which is why my name, spiritual name, came with a silver cross.
Yeah, silver cross is very symbolic of mediumship too.
Yeah.
You asked me about whether I meditate. When I'm forming protection, when I'm meditating to do a service or whatever, I always visualize a silver cross.
Yeah.
You know, but years ago it was Christmas and we were breaking up circle for the Christmas break, and my teacher Berenice gave me a little 6x4 photo frame, but it had a silver cross with a blue background in it. No, a silver cross with a gold background on it. And she said to me, the silver cross is mediumship and the gold background is wisdom. And you can't have mediumship without wisdom. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I just think there's many examples in life, not only Jesus, but if you look in other ascended masters, they're all giving us the same message.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
We're all powerful beings. We can all be mediums and healers in our own little way. And I just wish people would click onto that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, because I'm like yourself, Stephen. I'm always saying to people, we all have a team around us, and we can all work spiritually. If we trust and allow our teams to guide us, we might not all be like mediums. We might be stronger with healing. We might be stronger with mentoring, but we all have a purpose, and we all have a team, and we are all spiritual. It's whether we choose to be open to that side of things. And when we do choose to be open to that side of things, it's when we can allow the teachings and not try to control the teachings.
That's it. We got to allow the teaching. We got to let it flow. Funnily enough, I've had messages over the years saying that I was around the time of the crucifixion, or whether it's a member of the crowd or whatever. All right. And my girlfriend Julie, she resonates strongly with Mary Magdalene. And I'm not saying we were them in a past life or anything like that. But when we first started talking, she identifies Mary Magdalene meditates with her very strongly. And they reckon that Mary Magdalene was sort of like Jesus' top disciple. He gave her the real sort of like truth of the universe. Put it in another way, divine masculine, divine feminine. And you have that balance, don't you?
But do you, when you talk about that, can I just say, we're coming out of an era where it's been a lot of masculine energy, and we're moving into an era where there's more of a feminine energy and more of a balance within the energy. And that goes back to generations, and it goes back to history. You know, when we look at the Bible, it's very much a masculine energy. It was very much, they removed the book of Judith because the book of Judith was too headstrong, too independent, and would much of a warrior. They removed several books, but we're moving out of that. We're moving out of that masculine energy to a more balanced energy where there's more of the feminine coming in, and it's teaching us things. It's teaching us to allow the vulnerability. It's teaching us not to be so guarded, from, it's also teaching us that when we give love and we open ourselves to love, we're doing it on many levels, many levels. So they're teaching us that balance of the ebb and flow, like you said earlier, but also the yin, the yang, that there's so much more of a balance in the energies. And I feel it's went from that to that. And we're learning, and I think it's because we are allowing ourselves to be more open to teachings. We are allowing ourselves to step outside of the box. And in doing so, we're really balancing that energy, and we're working with both energies more in a balanced way rather than one or the other.
Yeah. I think it's important to do that, to be quite honest. We can see it manifesting in our everyday, sort of like when you walk down the street, there's blokes in frocks with big beards. I just see that as a manifestation of that. I don't take the mick. In fact, I admire them for living their truth. You know what I mean? They're brave enough to walk down the high street dressed like that, But, to me, that's a manifestation coming out of the divine masculine and divine feminine. It was the Council of Iceni that made Mary Magdalene a prostitute, because they didn't only ban Judith, they banned the book of Thomas as well, that talked of Jesus as a spiritual being, as a universal being, and all the Gnostic teachings as well. All right. So I always say to people, when you think of Jesus, don't think of like the religious church, because they made it all into the way they want us to believe to give them power, whereas Jesus was trying to empower us.
But do you not, Bridget disagreeing, do you not think that sometimes, when we be very rigid with a religion, again, we're restricting ourselves, whereas we can take on different aspects of religion, but in 2026, spiritualism is a religion.
And I don't see it as a religion.
Do you see? I don't see what I do as a religion. I see it as freedom. I see that free spirit, and I don't follow any religion. I have different parts of the faith that I carry, and I carry strongly within me. But I think anything that has rules and restrictions and regulations is very much controlled. It is quite restricting, and everyone will have a different way.
Yeah, I agree with you there 100%. The only reason spiritualism became a religion was back in the day, spiritualism was looking for charitable status. So before the SNU, there was a Christian spiritualist church in the greater world, and they had to have crosses. You know what I mean? To get charitable status.
I wear a cross. I
wear a cross, but as the symbol of Jesus. I don't. Not that I'm associated.
Do you not also see a cross? You talked earlier about a cross, and when you're doing your protection, you spoke about a cross. Yeah. And do you not also see a cross as protection before it's the north, the south?
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, you're being protected. It's like the Emperor Constantine. When you go back into his story, he was told to send troops to the north, the south, the east, the west. In the shape of the cross, and also, he won a battle that he didn't think he would go to. He put crosses on all his soldiers' shields, and he never thought that would happen. But again, for me, I see a cross, yes, to do with my faith, and my personal faith, but I also see a cross as the being protected from all directions.
Yeah, I mean, I was taught by my Egyptian guide the Rosy Cross. Where you go north, south, east, and west. It's quite a thing. You turn in each direction, and the arms are across like that, I sort of like do that in the right trance. But one of the most powerful protections I've learned is something that that good old Brian North, God rest his soul, taught me years ago. It's just simply by saying and saying it with intent as well. I stand in the light and love of my Lord Jesus Christ, in which nothing evil or detrimental to
Yeah.
me can penetrate. And that's so simple. You can just do it like that.
Yeah.
You
When you
know,
trust that you're working
it's
in the light, yeah, you'll always be protected.
yeah,
You know, you're always working within the light. You're always working within the divine source. You're acknowledging you're part of that divine source, and source light runs through us. It is us, and we should never fear source light. For me, I always know I trust. I'm always protected. I really trust.
I just think. I mean, I know you're of the same ilk as me, Judith. It's important to connect to source light when you're working with spirit.
Yeah, I will only work with source light.
Yeah,
Um,
and
I'll say
just
it.
allow it to flow through, so spirit can flow through with it. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But we
you
we
know,
are all source light. We are all part of source, um
yeah,
and that light's we're all part of that light. So we are.
yeah. I wish more people would realise that. I really, really do. I just think, I think religion's had its day. That's just my own personal way of thinking. Okay. I see spiritualism as a way of life, not as a religion. But now everybody's bleating that spiritualism is a religion, and I disagree. All right. I don't want us to go down the rules and regulations. Um, um,
Yeah, yeah,
most of the churches I serve are SNU churches, and they've got loads of rules and regulations.
yeah.
But I found the more freer church is the Christian Spiritualist Church. They're more accepting of everything and all the different aspects you were talking about.
There is some now. New churches are very much moving into the modern ways, and um, I agree with you. I know a lot of the FNU, um, what do you call him? Alexander, the physical medium, Stuart Alexander. I was talking to
Oh,
Stuart
him,
Alex.
yeah,
Yeah, I was
yeah,
talking to him, and he, if you go onto his website, he talks about how it has changed. And he's a physical medium. He channels direct voice, and he does direct voice. Um, he talks about how he has stepped away from spiritualism because it's not acknowledging the physical, and it's not acknowledging in the sense that there is that exists, and it's coming back stronger now. Stephen, is coming back. Physical mediumship is coming back, but it's coming back, and it's changing in how it develops and how it learns. I have photographs of different students, and there's a lady I would have, she had given me the permission to share it, and she's from Canada, and she's sitting working with her guide, and the head's right here, and the eye is so clear, and the image is absolutely amazing. But again, it's because we're all open to teach me, show me, guide me, teach me, heal me. I say every day, show me, guide me, teach me, heal me, because
yeah.
there's nobody can teach us as strongly as our guides. Yes, we can mentor people, but they are the teachers. And if it goes back to the rules and regulations, they're developed by man, they're not developed by spirit. And that sadly then
I
prevents
agree.
us from developing
Well,
into the way we can develop.
you get a development circle. Just say you've got, for instance, 6 people in it. One of them's a medium. All right. What I try to impress on people is your guides are there waiting for you.
Yeah.
All right, but there are higher guides that oversee the development of that circle.
Plus, you have people
Yeah.
who are coming in and go, I'd like to
So
work
it's
with this
not just the
person.
medium.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you're the same. I go with what Spirit want to teach, and because I know it's being governed by higher guides. That's the way it's.
Yeah, I always go with,
because you've got different personalities in there that are going to. You can't have all different.
Yeah, I'm very happy too. I always say to people, I call it the trust fall, and I always say to do what Spirit wants you to do, develop that trust fall, because when you trust your team unconditionally, you won't doubt them, and you'll not be afraid to say, I didn't get that straight away, or I couldn't do that straight away.
Yeah.
You won't be afraid of those no's, and you won't be afraid to say, oh, didn't get it. I'll try again the next time. It's Spirit showing us that just keep trusting. And when we get to know our team and we work with our team and we make that, I always say teamwork makes the dream work. And when we understand we're working as a team instead of one person, that's when the magic happens, because we're all understanding
That's
that
right.
each one of us play a role. And when one of us isn't working with the team, it sets the balance, it sets the development. And when we're working as a team, we are really pushing ourselves, and we're not trying to control it. We're just allowing. But the best thing anybody could ever do is not worry about how fast you have to learn. Focus on just working with your team and building that trust. Because once you have that trust, you have everything you need. Everything you need.
100%. I've been a platform medium 43 years, and I'm still learning how to do it.
Yeah.
Because some spirit communicators aren't sort of that, have never communicated through a medium before. So, like you said, Judith, you've got to be honest. You've got to be honest to say, I'm not sure if I understand this correctly. This is what it's showing. This is the feeling I'm getting. The link is very faint right now, and all the rest of it. But if you bear with it, and like you say, trust, it will get stronger. Because the spirit communicator is learning how to communicate through a medium. And I think something important you said is don't be frightened of the no's. Because one of the things I was taught was communicating the message in a way people can understand. What you and I will understand, somebody else won't. You know what I mean? So you've got to try and bring it over in a way that they can understand. You know what I mean?
Personally, I never change anything. If I'm told one word, I'll pass that one word. If I'm told several words, I'll pass it. Because I've learned that by trying to understand somebody else's message, we've completely changed that message. And we might think, oh, they're only giving me this one word. But when you give that one word to someone, it could mean everything to that person, and they totally get it. They totally get it.
Yeah, it's such a something Bridget's saying, because I want to round this off. But I usually find that one word that you get is the be all and end all of the message. Everybody's happy, or the person receiving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if I had a pound for every time that I've said it's not for me to understand, as long as you understand it. Because I'll say I understand exactly what you're going on about. I won't know. But it's for them to understand, not for me. Okay, I wish mediums would realise that. Just to finish off, Bridget's saying, do you ever get the urge to tell people things like you need to sing as your throat chakra needs healing? Yes, I've said it lots of times. What about you, Judith?
It's funny because, so I know you're talking about the throat chakra, but like in a way that you're working it. So I was at an appointment a couple of years ago, and there was a lady, and she said to me, I hear you're a light worker, I hear you're a medium. And I says, well, yes, I like working with my spirit team. And they said to me, do you charge? And no, they said to me, maybe we can do a connection or something. And I said, certainly. And she says, do you charge? And I says, yes, I do. And she says, oh, no, you should never charge. I believe it's for a gift. And I said, see the wrist that's bandaged and it's broken and in a sling. It's because you constantly give and you're not receiving. And I said, so there's nothing wrong with charging. This is if you're doing it as a profession and you're doing it with love, kindness, and honesty.
You're giving your time. Yeah.
Exactly. So
that's what my teacher taught me. Yeah.
Yeah. I very much believe that it's hard not to sometimes, because the more you work with spirit, everything's just naturally there. You're not having to go through all this different routines, or everything is naturally there. And although spirit will not, they will not intrude, but if they think there's something very important that you need to know, they will come forward. And so it's, there has been occasions I've done that. I've done that too.
Yeah, spirit, people, when they have a reading, they're paying for your time, not for your link with spirit. They're paying for your time. Simple as that. What about all the time we spend in spiritual development? You know, all about sometimes we spend traveling and all the rest of it. But never mind. Let's not go on about that. We've overrun with time.
Can I just add to that, Stephen? Because there's another side to that, Stephen, that people don't always see. And I can only speak from myself as to how I work as an evidential and physical medium, and I'd be interested to hear yours. But when people charge, you're saying it's for your time, yes. But when you're a physical medium, or even an evidential medium, because you have to self-care, but when you're a medium and you're working with your energy in such a strong way, and especially physical medium, you're going to a different level of energy and strain on your physical body, and it uses so much energy in your physical body. People don't realize that you lose salt. You lose the salt from your body, you lose the electrolytes from your body, you dehydrate, you need to keep that hydration up. So it has physical impacts on our physical bodies. So it's not just a matter of saying, oh, well, let's connect and let's give a message. It actually affects us in so many ways. So there is a physical impact, and it's like, if you were a bin man and you're lifting them all times with a big metal bin, you're going to hurt your back. You know, if you're a coal man and you used to be lifting them bags of coal, you're going to hurt your back. Yourself, Bridget, you're a nurse, you'll be standing on your feet all day, and I'm sure you get sore back. So there's things come with your job, and you get paid for that job, but there's things come with that job that affects you in a physical way. And with mediumship, it definitely affects us in a physical way. It can affect our health, and it can affect our body.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I always charge more for trance. Also, you know, we're spending a lot of time. We're not spending a lot of time in our own heads, and we have to look after ourselves. Judith is 100% correct. We have to wind it up because we've run over by 4 minutes, and I'll be getting told off by the lovely Veronica. But as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. We could go on, I know, but it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you for everybody that's come along and joined us. And thank you. Look after your energy, Bridget. And we'll see you again next week. But anyway, thanks again, Judith.
Thank you for having me.
Take care now, everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care. Goodbye.
Bye.